Let's take a look at the 6'7" sophomore out of Arizona, Dalen, young man who shot 36% from three this past season on 2 attempts a game. And I do want to mention all of the shooting numbers across the board went up in higher volume from his freshman to his sophomore year. You could see that people were going to play off of him and not really respect the jumper. But as the possession continues, you're going to see his ability to just catch and knock down a catch and shoot. And I think that's definitely what he has to be able to do at the next level. I would have liked to see more in the mid-range from him. Very few mid-range jumpers. So coming off this ball screen, would have liked to see him step into a three. But again, you're going to see him move the ball, and that's what he does really well. He's going to be a ball mover, a connector piece. But if he can also do this, stay on the weak side, and when they help off, catch and shoot and knock down, that's going to be huge for his all-around game. And then his scoring, that left a little bit to be desired. I wish he would have just been more aggressive. That was the biggest thing for me. He was really good in transition, 1.53 points per possession. It was his most used play type, and he scored around the rim at a high level, but I would have liked to see him be more aggressive. Attack this one-on-one with a move. I don't mind him getting to his shooter on the weak side here, but I think he could have taken advantages more often. You're going to see it again here in transition. Again, where he was really good. Attack this guy in transition. Instead, he actually settles for a pull-up three, which isn't really what he is best at. Even here on the reversal, if he was a little bit better of a shooter, you would have a little closer of a closeout, and then he would have even more of an advantage. I just didn't think he was able to take advantage of these opportunities and advantages as much as I would have liked. And so that was the biggest thing. It was the aggressiveness from Dalen, and then just taking advantage of them when they were there. Here you see him show a little bit more as he goes to a spin move, but not able to finish. He was just 5 of 26 on floaters, was 0.67 points per possession catch and drive, same thing as a pick and roll handler. Now there were small glimpses, and maybe that's what gives you a little bit of hope. So here against Michigan, uses the ball screen, goes to the 1-foot floater, and able to knock it down. They were few and far between, but there were at least enough that makes you wonder, okay, does he have a little bit more in him, or can he continue to develop it as he goes to a little Euro step and a finish with his left hand right there. And then one more, he's going to attack against Houston downhill and gets to the free throw line. Would have loved to see that more from Dalen. His free throw attempts actually went down from his freshman to his sophomore year. The percentage went up, but the attempts went down. Now he will be able to provide some other things offensively. I think he'll be a good cutter. He's athletic, so you can throw him a lob. You see there, go up and get that one. And then also as an offensive rebounder, he grabbed 1.2 offensive rebounds per game as well. So I do think he can score in a variety of ways. Maybe he ends up just being a transition offensive rebound cutter, but I do think there's an opportunity for him to expand his all-around game with the jumper and then being better attacking off closeouts in ball screen situations, which you want him in because he's such a good passer. That's one thing that really stood out to me. So let's start with the quote-unquote simple stuff. Catch one more pass. Very unselfish player. He's going to get the ball where it needs to go, when it needs to go there. Love this defensive rebound, 3.7 a game for Dalen. And then he does this all the time in transition. Yes, I would have liked to see him be more aggressive at times, but this kick ahead cross-court pass is an awesome pass to create an advantage for your team and put pressure on the defense. And he did it over and over again. And even here, just the read here. Benedict Mathurin isn't open right now, but he's reading the defender. He knows the athleticism of Mathurin. He throws it up there, and they're able to convert. So he sees those things. I really like that. Here he sees the defense overplaying on the strong side, gets it to his teammate in the weak side corner with an on-the-money pass. Would have liked to see him a little bit more with his left hand, but in general, I came away really impressed with his passing. As you see one more, he puts it right on his big's hands in that situation, and I think what's important is him to develop that scoring we talked about earlier to open up those passing opportunities more and more. It wasn't perfect, but I don't think he was a high turnover guy, just 1.4 per game. That actually was less when you factor in minutes. At times, I think he got a little bit of tunnel vision. Maybe it was just running the offense here. They're running a set to the big, and instead of looking this guy off and maybe throwing it to Ben Math in the corner, he tries to force it in there. And then in the Houston game, just some little things here. He tried to throw this backdoor pass over and over, and Houston had the scouting report out on it, so he just get a little bit better in those situations. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. We're start on ball, where I definitely have more questions, and especially navigating ball screens. So So here he's going to get a double ball screen, navigates the first one well, and then runs right into the second one. And I just think he has some work to do in terms of his fundamentals and his footwork and technique in these situations. We're going to see it again here. The pin down runs right into it, runs right into the ball screen. And then even his angle here to get back in front of the ball isn't necessarily great. So I do think he has some work to do in terms of navigating on ball screens. When it's just straight isolation, there was some good possession. So here against Johnny Juzang, going to stay in front, move his feet, gets a little bit of help from Koloko there to shut him off, holds his ground as Juzang turns it into a post-up, forces him to get rid of it. And then here again in the second half, going to use that 6'7" and then 7-foot wingspan to force a tough contested shot from Juzang. And so I thought there was some really good possessions there. If he does one thing in isolation, it's this. He starts to hug up to the ball handler just a little bit too much. I would like to see him use his length just a little bit more and keep that man in front of him. Not bad there. He doesn't always get beat like complete blow-bys. Those are the ones that really concern me. But I think he could get a little bit better if he eliminated this, where he kind of lets the offensive player get into his body. Now, maybe he'll get better with his hands, deflecting the ball and forcing some turnovers, but I do think it's an area he could get a little bit better at. Then off the ball, we'll start again with the screen navigation. So here you see against Houston, gets lost a little bit, gets hung up on that screen again, ends up giving up an open three in the second half. But on this pin down, he's a little bit more aware and focused to start, gets through it, and then I think this is where he gets really good. Whether he's the guy that goes in traps, like we see here, uses high hands, and then we'll rotate out of it. We'll see another one against Michigan. Arizona trapped the post a lot, so you see him go right away, and then he's going to be ready to rotate out. Or if he's the guy on the backside of the trap, ready to rotate. So there the trap comes, he's ready to rotate to the pass out, back to the wing, and he just does a really, really good job of being in the right spot. There, he's telling his teammate to do it. Again, rotating to the initial pass out. I actually love this, playing in this passing angle, taking away this immediate one more pass to allow his teammates to rotate. Now he gets a little bit high. He could use that wingspan just to get his hand out there, and his feet could be a little bit closer to the three-point line to stay in front on the drive, but I like the mindset and the awareness in general. Here now we're going to see him kind of a little bit more on the weak side. So the dive comes down the middle of the lane. He's going to see it, get in front of that guy so the pass doesn't even go there, and then close out as the skip pass goes to the weak side, and then even tagging the roll man, able to get a hand in here. 1.2 steals per game. One thing he didn't do much of was block shots, 0.3 blocks per game. And then to finish off, I do think he's the guy that's going to get involved on the defensive boards. I mentioned earlier 3.7 per game. Yes, I would like to see him actually box this guy out, but what I'd like is he always gets involved. He comes in, whether a teammate's boxing out, whatever it is, he goes in, he gets involved. Whether he ends up coming up with the board or not, he's getting involved on the defensive rebounds. So really like his game offensively with his passing and transition. Can he add that other stuff? And then defensively, off ball is really good. On the ball, can the improvements come, especially with the screen navigation?